You are a B2B service-based business owner and you are looking to gain more clients, create more impact and more revenue in your business. Tune in to Amplify Your Marketing Message with Christine Campbell-Rappin. Every week, we're going to take you through how to build an audience of buyers, mastering your marketing message, and making offers that convert consistently. We'll see you all on the inside. Welcome back, my friends. You know, and I know that video is no longer just, I should do that. It's an essential part of your way to build trust with your next buyer. However, many people do video for the sake of just doing video without realizing that doing video well can make it your top marketing and sales asset. And so I've asked a very good friend of mine and client who is a rock star when it comes to video production to come and talk to us about how do we shift gears so that we really see an asset that helps us build the yes. So give a very warm welcome to our platform, Mr. Mike Perlow. Woohoo! And the crowd goes wild.
Hey, Christine, great to be here.
I'm excited to have you here and to talk about what you do because I love the work that you're doing. But so many people get stumped the moment a camera shows up. And in your case, you actually go on site, you shoot real live videos, you have cameramen, you bring lots of lights, and you ask people this question. Tell us about your business or tell the story of your business. How do you answer that question that you don't look like an idiot and need 10 million hours of editing to get a good hook to start the video?
Sure. So I find that there's two challenges that most business owners have, small, large, any industry, is one, simply answering what do they do and who do they do it for? So that's part one. And people struggle to say that in a way that, as I like to joke, like a fourth grader could understand. Sometimes it's because their business is very technical. Sometimes it's just because even people like myself in marketing use grandiose verbiage about we're going to enhance your image or grow this or expand that, but it doesn't actually tell you what they do. So that's one part. People struggle with that. So getting them to the point where they can succinctly in a sentence say, we do this for these people, or we do this to solve this problem. And then the second part in effective video, making sure, well, there's nothing wrong with building your brand name. So sometimes, the extreme example is advertising on the Super Bowl, where we often joke, we love the commercial. We don't know who it was for, but we remember the name. That's where companies are looking to build their brand. And many times companies come to us creating video content to help build their brand, build their name recognition locally, regionally, nationally, internationally, whatever. And that's great. That means you want to create videos that are just going to be memorable more than anything else. But most companies that are coming to us for videos want videos that are going to help improve their sales and marketing strategy. And where they often fall short, sometimes they're creative, but more so than that, is instead of answering why you need what they do, the better question to answer is why, when they know they need what you do, they should work with you. And so in the case of Perlow Productions, we do videos that talk about the impact of video on sales and marketing, but that's indirectly doing sales and marketing for our competition. Our best videos are videos that say, when you know you need and want high quality strategized video, here's why companies work with Perlow Productions. And so long before we shoot, edit, or even create animation, those are the questions that I put our clients through. And it's often a struggle initially. And sometimes they're even a little frustrated and occasionally put off because they think I'm challenging their answer. But really what I'm trying to do is get them to a point where they can give answers that are meaningful and thus really create the outline of what the video is going to show and tell. And
I think this is so freaking good. I mean, seriously, I think this is so freaking good because here's the biggest reason people struggle to create the result, right? And you and I have talked a lot about this. It isn't that we do the video. It's we do a video so that it creates a result. And while brand awareness sounds good, if you need clients, you need a buyer to put up their hand. And so I love that you're calling out, if you know a known problem, that you have it and you're looking to solve it, which means I'm curious, keep watching because we're going to provide a pathway to the result. And I can imagine people do get frustrated, but this actually, regardless, I think if they just paid you, they wouldn't need to spend all this money with other marketing people because you would have answered the question that they've spent years of marketing people trying to get the answer to.
Right. And then the other part is, that's kind of like, I don't want to say the end, because it really isn't the end, but I mean, we've been in business 18 years now. In our early days, we produce a video, give it to the client, good luck, best of luck, let us know how it goes. Now, because over the years, I've seen so many times when clients are ecstatic about the videos we produce for them, but 3 weeks, 6 months, a year later, when I circle back with them to see what's happening, I way too often would hear, video was amazing, better than we expected, but we're not getting much from it. And the problem there is, because even companies often that have marketing people in place, they're broadly marketing people, but often don't have the expertise and understanding of how to use that amazing asset once they have it. Maybe they put it on their website, maybe they put it on their YouTube channel, maybe they post it on social media, maybe they show it at a trade show, but it kind of ends there. I'll give you one simple example of how I encourage people, Perlow Productions clients, to use their videos. You have what's called a hyperlink to the video, either from your website page, or if you have it on YouTube, Vimeo, wherever, put that in your email signature. So every single time you or anybody from your company, particularly your salespeople, are emailing anybody, you're giving a potential client, an opportunity to see that video with no effort other than clicking a link in your email signature. We do that. I encourage our clients to. Many don't, for who knows why, but it's that kind of guidance and advice that, beyond the creative production and the strategy after the fact is just as important. And it's a big part that we do more and more of these days than we ever have before with any client that's, open to our advice and guidance. And as we all know, sometimes, horse to water, but, usually clients, as they start to realize they're not using the video in the right ways, they welcome my advice and our team's advice.
And as you realize, there are so many ways to use the asset that you've created. It isn't a one and done. And yes, when you first contract a video production company such as Perlow Productions, you likely have a very targeted need. You have maybe an event, you have a need on your website, you have something specific as a first deliverable. But don't think just for the first deliverable. Think about the bigger way to use it. And I know I've got homework to talk about putting videos into my signature from this episode, but it means that the more you use it and the more targeted it is about answering a person who's seeking, that you're a solution provider for it, the more you will say, we need more video and we need a higher quality video. And it's worth investing in a professional human, not just AI, to create it, because it's not check the box, I did it. It's all of these pieces coming together that build the momentum to a result. And somebody's going to say, let's help you use it more effectively. And let's think about how we use it when we shoot it. Absolutely. So that you have the content to put it together in many permutations so that you have great results.
Absolutely. And, I could talk to the cows come home about why you should spend X, Y, Z on videos and all that. And, why not do it yourself versus a professional. And honestly, I'm a big believer that there is a place for most businesses to have homemade DIY videos and professional videos, depending on the purposes and how you're using them. We do that too, actually. We do behind the scenes videos that a lot of times I'm shooting with my iPhone on a production, but those are behind the scenes videos, not client productions, right? But some of the things that I think people don't realize when they go either a low cost route or a Fiverr, or, a kid just out of college, he might even be a decent videographer editor, right? Mm-hmm. But so let's assume they are. Let's assume you can find the 1 in 1,000 videographer editors that's actually talented beyond their years, okay, which we are able to find. But that's after sifting through hundreds, if not thousands. But let's say you found that one. What they almost always lack is the strategy part of it. So they can shoot interviews, they can shoot footage, they can edit it together, but they don't understand the messaging, the themes, the target audience, all the strategy that needs to go into a video. Again, that doesn't say why what you do is great, but why, when somebody needs what you do, they should work with you or buy your product or service or whatever it is. I know when speaking about you, Christine, at a meeting recently, and I said, when I talked about the impact you've had on Perlow Productions and me running my company, it wasn't like a list of 10, new ways we were editing videos, right? It was all these different little things, from client follow-up to creating proposals to, different things that are all these little things that, again, there are lots of people that could coach me on how to better run a business, but it's all these little things that it's analogous to what we do here, which is if you don't understand those little pieces that come together, even picking the right music, picking the right voiceover talent, taking a client script, even if it's written by somebody at the company who knows how to write a video script, but doesn't really know how to make it sound conversational, right? Because sometimes scripts can be sounds like the written word. And I'm very good from my years in broadcasting of writing conversational sounding scripts. So even though it's being read by a voiceover talent, it sounds like they're saying it. And all those little things and so many other things that your average, low cost, younger, whatever you want to call them, videographer, editor, video producer, just doesn't bring to the table. And so, but it's hard, I think, sometimes for people to initially see the difference until they maybe have an experience. And, hiring somebody who you're just hiring a freelance person and all of a sudden their cat's sick or they're somebody needs a ride somewhere, whatever. And they suddenly the night before the shoot call and say they have to reschedule. Like that doesn't happen with us. If God forbid I'm really sick or our videographer is sick, we bring in somebody else. We don't call the client that morning and say, sorry, I'm sick. I can't make it today.
Yeah.
Over the years, I've received so many phone calls of, we hired somebody to shoot this and they can't make it last minute. And then when I eventually find out what they were paying, it's like almost nothing. I say, well, you get what you pay for. I mean, you paid a very low rate for somebody who proved to be, without knowing their skill level, unreliable. So that's, you show up to all your meetings, right?
I try my level best. I got stung yesterday and I thought that's so unlike me, but it happened and I had to own it and I did. And what I love is the situational context because again, and you and I've spent a lot of time talking about this, and my friends, if you're listening here and you're running a business where you're not the cheapest on the block, there's a lot to be learned from what Mike is saying is I'm not just selling, although you are, the deliverable. And if you're going to compare me to Fiverr and something that costs $100 and what we pay a professional, we are in different levels of dollars. However, it's the situational context and your goal is what do I want out of it? Engineer backwards. You do have to educate your client on what makes you different. And what makes you different is we'll help you commercialize this. We'll help you know how to use it. We'll help you tell the story in a way that moves the audience, not just we created X result. And that's something that has really shifted in your business and it's helping you get to yes faster. Because people are like, oh, this feels like you care more. And you're educating in a way that says, I'm actually here to help sure you get the result.
And also, like I learned years ago that through an experience where I handled it the opposite way, that beyond the video production, animation, whatever we're doing, clients are hiring us for our expertise. And so it's incumbent upon me particularly, when I hear a client recommending an idea that I just don't think is a good approach, not being afraid to say that to the person. Particularly, I mean, honestly, sometimes we're dealing with some pretty high level executives or heads of marketing or sales, whatever, that some people probably be intimidated to say, hey, Christine, I don't think that's a good idea, the right approach to this. And I will always say, listen, I have another idea. Ultimately, you're the client, it's your choice. But here's why I'm not sure that your idea is the best one. And here's what I think might be a better one. Ultimately, it's your choice. And I'd say most of the time, clients will defer to our recommendation. But having somebody that's not afraid to challenge your ideas and your concepts, that doesn't mean they're not a team player. It doesn't mean they can't execute on your idea. But, you're not an expert at producing videos. You're an expert at your business. So a partner that isn't afraid to be honest with you in the name of delivering the best video possible. I can't tell how many times over the years we'll set up a shot or we'll take some approach and somebody will turn to me and say, like, do you think that's really the right way to do it? And, I'm kind of, well, yeah, that's why we're doing it this way, because we absolutely do. But sometimes it's hard on a shoot location to understand why we're angling a shot a certain way or using lights or maybe not using lights sometimes, right? Or using a certain kind of microphone or whatever it may be, asking the same question 6 times in an interview. So it's all those different things that, again, you watch one video, you watch another video. I would tell you that what makes a video go from okay to great is all the little pieces that come together. It's like going for a dinner at your average bar and grill and then going for fine dining. They're both cooking steaks or chicken or fish or whatever, but it's the approach, the creativity, the spices, the expertise, the flair, all those things that go into making an amazing meal versus your average, no offense to bars and grills, but like your average kind of bar and grill dinner, which is great. But it's, if that's what you want, that's fine. But if you're looking for amazing and excellent, that hopefully is on par with what your business offers, That's where all those little intricacies that we and my entire team, I mean, our lead animator has been with us for almost 18 years. Our videographers and editors and graphic designers and other team members have been with us anywhere from 3 to 16 years now. And they're men and women who are amazing at what they do. We don't bring a person to do 6 different jobs. That doesn't mean we're not team players, but if we're shooting drone video, we bring an experienced drone cinematographer. We have a separate ground level and interview videographer in 90% of the cases. Occasionally, that's not what happens, but generally we do, because we want each person bringing their greatest skill to the production.
And we hire your experts, just as you are hired in your business for an opinion. And you've heard me say this before on this platform, and I'm going to say it again because this is so key. I assume at the price and with my research that you have a certain level of skill. You're going to deliver the widget. You're going to do what you promised. But where the magic and the sauce comes from is I am hiring you for an opinion because you're smarter than I am. And we do have sometimes respectful disagreements around that. But when I've shot with, whether they're professional photographers versus an amateur versus a video production that we've done on our iPhones, or whether we've done them as a full shoot, when you're hiring an expert and they say, well, what do you want? You're in trouble, run. You should say, well, this is what I need to achieve. You're the expert. Please guide me. And when you're putting weird poses and weird lights and weird yells, you're like, you have to trust the process because they have a lens that you don't carry. And that's when you say, I'm the expert. Stick with me through the program and we'll make sure that we deliver what we promised and stand in integrity and do that. And so there's a lot of different types. And it's interesting that you say there's a time and a space for the real, I'm going to say the behind the scenes. Those are the words you use. The behind the scenes, I'm working with my iPhone. I'm just shooting real life. And there's times when it's like, if I want to be selected as a keynote speaker on a $10,000 stage, I am not going to be behind the scenes unless I'm posting on social media behind the scenes content. I'm going to be saying, please get a really great sizzle reel with great music, with great animations, with great storyline that does a standing ovation response.
Absolutely.
So how do you determine the best types of video content, and where do you start that conversation so that it becomes an asset, that it's something you will actually use, not just say, wow, that was amazing. Now it's in a box. I don't know what to do with it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I had a situation fairly recently where somebody was referred to us in a financial services firm. And they originally said to me that they wanted, I think it was like an animated explainer video about their firm and the services and all they provide. And as I was talking to this gentleman, he's one of the heads of the firm, I asked him, I said, let me ask you a question. Like, generally, when people hire you, they're hiring your firm based on you or one of your partners or colleagues based on that person and the relationship they're developing, right? It's not hiring your firm as a whole. He's like, absolutely. I said, okay, well, I think the kind of video you've described is not what you need. What you need is a video describing, maybe even each of you individually, what makes you unique in your field, the background you have, the experience you have. So people hear these stories and know about the kind of person and the creativity that they bring in that world, because that's really how they're making their purchase or hiring decision. It's not what is the firm's name, what do they do broadly. It's who are the people that are actually going to work with me in whether it's finance or health or whatever else it is. So we're now talking about a very different video than he originally envisioned. So a lot of times people come and say they want, I get called and say, we're looking to do a new video about our company. What would it cost? So, and actually my first response to that is, if you call anybody else and they give you a price based on that information, run.
Because you're buying a widget, you're not buying a commercial asset that you will use to create clients.
Right. And I'll tell people, like, we've done, 30-second videos for 30 grand. We've done 5-minute videos for 6 grand. So it's not just how long the video is. It's not where you're using it. There's so many different factors that go into what's the scope of a production and the cost of a production, the bells and whistles we bring into it, different upgrades that we can bring depending on what we're doing and where we're doing it. So it's really talking through, again, what do you want this video to accomplish? What do you want it to show people? What do you want it to tell people? And maybe even more importantly, what is the action you want them to take after they watch the video? Right?
So
you want them to call now, order now, buy now, contact us for more information, set up a meeting, talk about you to the world. Like, what is it you want people to do? And make sure that the video accomplishes all those things. So sometimes you see videos that tell a lot about a product or company, but there's no call, so it just ends. Okay, now what?
All the time.
Right. Or sometimes it's a video that's just kind of very generic. This is what we do broadly. Contact us for more information. Okay. So again, not a very strong call to action. And so it's really talking through all of those things, which frankly, most people aren't thinking that deeply when they come to us about a video. Right? Like they know, I mean, a video we just did recently for a company, they knew they wanted the video showcasing their company, the general services they provide. They needed it for a really important trade show. We did it. They loved it. They showed it on a big video screen. But once we started talking about, okay, what are the different areas of your company that you really want to highlight? If we show it, what more do we need to say, maybe with on-screen text that gives some perspective to what they're seeing, because maybe it's not so obvious unless there's signage. So if we see somebody at a computer, do we know if they're doing a sales call or technical support or repairs or whatever it may be? What are the best ways to capture this? Even dealing with weather, people always think a sunny, beautiful day is the best day. Not necessarily.
Not when you're photographing. Yeah.
Right. So sun is great, but like bright sunny, it can actually be, we like a slightly overcast, but a bit of sun kind of day. So things like that. So it's really pushing those conversations, giving people time to think about it. So I don't say, give me the answers now. I'll usually send a follow-up email recapping all of those questions. And I'll say, give it some thought. These are not hard and fast answers. Give me your best guess now. It could be, who do we want to interview for the video? What are the different shoot locations? How can we capture what you do in action? So some companies literally do a physical action that we can go capture. Others, it's more like consulting. Like think about if we were doing a video about you, Christine, right? Like you're either meeting in person or virtually with people. So how do we capture somebody meeting with their clients, right? And there's different ways to go about that versus if you were building a house, very easy to go. But then the question is, okay, we want to get video of your company building houses. What are some projects that you're working on right now that we can go to, and where are they, and what makes the most sense? What's going to show the best in a video? Do we want to show mansions and 3-bedroom houses? Like where, what, when, all those things. So there's all things to think about. Another example, a client I spoke to yesterday that wants to do an overview video for their company. And the one thing they didn't think of that I suggested is because they have case studies on their website and they have some really cool clients. And I said, well, we should integrate some of that and interview some of your clients to help tell the story of what makes you great. And his suggestion was, well, we have one that's a huge name. They do amazing things. Maybe we could do that. And I said, well, we can. But in my opinion, if you only have a video testimonial from one client, it's kind of like anybody could have one happy client. So just having one kind of is like, okay. So I said, if time and budget and all those things allow, ideally, let's at least talk to 2 or 3 different companies to include them in the video, because then you're showing different kinds of clients you work with, but also that you're not just like a one-trick pony.
Well, so this is the expertise, right? And I think what's so important is the first decision you make. I need this to be an asset. I need this to be a tool. And I highly, highly recommend you bring in both behind the scenes and this real expert opinion that says, let's ensure that we do it. It will be dollars well spent to have somebody teach you, tease out the story and deliver something. Because I will tell you, I know the quality of the work that Perlow Productions does is phenomenal. And I think the clients are stronger business people, having been through the process of tell our stories through the first lens, the lens of the camera. And that enables you to just be a stronger communicator, whether that's one-to-one, whether you take it into a bigger context. This to me is always the proof in the pudding. And so I want to ask you this, because I ask all my guests, what are you doing right now to win business? I mean, you constantly have new content in videos, I know, because you're very active in shoots and always something new to talk about socially. But what's working right now for you to amplify your message, to find clients for your business, to find that next client, to shoot their story?
Well, there's this woman, Christine Campbell-Rappin, you might have heard of. So she's helped us a little bit. But beyond your incredible advice and guidance. So we are always, we've used social media for years to promote what we do because we're a visual medium. It gives us an asset that we can post on social media. So that's one part where just getting the word out. I often say that social media for us is like our free PR agency, because we put it out there. We will tag people that are involved in the productions, often clients once they give us the okay. So that's a big thing. We always like to show behind the scenes and then show the completed production. And then we'll shoot testimonial interviews with our clients to get their stories and speak about what their experience was working with us. So I'd say that's a big part of it. I'm also always, so we worked recently with a company that works in the pet product industry. So when we work with a client in a new industry, it often allows me to look at the broader picture of that industry and say, what else goes on here? Not just what other businesses are in this industry, but then what other trade shows and conferences happen in this industry? Where are the key places to get in front of these people, both as a vendor and potentially an industry partner? So exploring that avenue. We have another client we worked with in technology that their focus is technology and customer management systems in the car wash industry, which again, I didn't know until we worked with them how huge an industry the car wash industry is. So we're already talking about a second video with them. So, navigating other opportunities within the industry of a new one you've worked with is always great, but also going back to companies you've worked with in the past and saying, who else works in that broader industry? And we can now say, hey, we worked with company X. They do a lot of the same things you do. Our video is hugely helpful to them with their sales and marketing or prospecting, whatever it may be. We'd love to explore an opportunity with you. So
this is so cool because it's two things. It's number one, your activity impresses your next client. So get active. Okay. There's always periods of slowness in every business, but activity is attractive. Second thing, what I love is I initiated from a client to learn about an industry, to get visible in this industry, to ask for referrals in this industry. And as a result, you start building your leads. You start building potential buyers. You start building a question in your mind. Do I want to play there? And what will it take to play there and then win in it? I absolutely love this. Mike, how do people find you?
You can find us at perlowproductions.com. That's our website. Well, you can see my last name there. So last name, perlowproductions.com. We are on Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube. I think the only social media platform we're not on is Snapchat, but that doesn't really apply.
That'd be weird.
Yeah. But we're really all over social media. If you even Google Perlow Productions or Google Mike Perlow, you'll find lots of video examples and articles of work we've done. We didn't get a chance to touch too much on animation and live streaming, but those are two other things we do. We've done a lot of creative animation, from very technical animation for companies like Dell Technologies to much more fun and cartoony animation, where we created original animated characters for brands to act as a brand spokesperson out of the Geico Gecko mold of things. And then we do a lot of event live streaming of everything from graduations to huge corporate meetings, conferences, trade shows, performances. So, we while our focus is video production and animation, overall, we're really looking to work with companies that want to take that whole visual presence to another level and have assets that they can use and reuse, from their website to trade shows to in-person presentations to Zoom meetings to social media. Wherever you are putting your company out there, you have these amazing assets that represent your company really well.
Well, I will tell you, you get Christine's total stamp of approval. You guys, you should go check out Perlow Productions. I think they are a remarkable organization with a lot of heritage, a lot of expertise, and Mike's a cool guy to go interview with. So thanks for being on our show, Mike. Everybody here, this is about using video. Video should no longer be should I. It's yes, and it's step up your game so that you build a great sales and marketing asset. Because without that, you don't have the result that it could be, and that's money you wasted and left on the table. So let's go after it. Go talk to Mike. We'll see you all on our next episode. We'll see you there. That's a wrap on another amazing episode of Amplify Your Marketing Message with me, your host, Christine Campbell-Rappin. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform so you don't miss another great episode. And be sure to visit christinecampbellrappin.com/podcast to get a free resource on how to master your marketing message. We'll see you all on our next episode.